been very, very heartened by the backlash on this.
Yes.
Digital ID is actually so un-British. You know, what we want in this country is we want things to work. But I think we also want less government. And digital ID changes the relationship between government and the people. No one voted for this. It's got whiff of Orwellian control. And what does it start with? Trying to solve, in inverted commas, illegal migration, which it won't solve. And then it mission creeps onto things like the NHS or net zero or, what we're putting in our car, how much fuel, what food we buy, whether we buy a bottle of booze and so on. I think people see through this. And I think part of it is because immediately there's a groundswell of support against it. And then that spread. And I think people are also commentating in a very articulate way about all the problems with this, because you cannot have something that was not in their manifesto that gives more than a whiff of something out of, communism in the 1970s and 1980s, or certainly China today. And people are now thinking, well, where does this end? Does it start with, legal migration, which won't work? And could it end with even more government control? A show us your papers government should never, ever apply in British society.
Now, when this signature first started, I was actually on air, and within about 3 hours, it was up to about 400,000. It is a phenomenon. This is big. The government, obviously running a bit scared, started saying, oh, well, no, you misunderstand. It's not, big socialist state. It's not papers, please, dystopia. It's just for employment. It's just for workers, to make sure that when illegal migrants come across here, they can't work illegally. Well, they can't anyway, officially, because we have to have an insurance, a national insurance number. You have to have proof of residency. So we don't need this in any way to ensure that people don't work illegally, because they will. They always will. There'll always be a black economy with people working under the counter, whether or not you've got digital ID cards or not. So that didn't stack up. And within hours, old Lisa Nandy, old super brain, she was on, she's the culture secretary, by the way. Is she very cultural? I'll just put that out there. There she is on Question Time. This is soon after it's been proposed. And, it's not just for work. She starts saying, well, the way we see it is you'll have to use it for the NHS to see your doctor, social services, Then you had Shabana Mahmood at the Labour conference saying, oh, we envisage using it for all sorts of things. So what they're proposing is a digital ID card, a Brit card, as they're going to call it, that without which you will not be able to function in this country. You'll need that. And by the way, it will not just be civil. It will not just be the NHS, your doctor, social services, etc., etc. I'll guarantee you, whoever get these, the first thing the cops will ask for when they pull you up in your car or on the street, show us your papers, show us your digital ID card. There seems to be a discrepancy. Come with me, please. That's what this is all about. This is a big brother digital ID socialist dystopia that he's talking about. Tabs on us all. Socialist government keeping an eye on the individuals who live here, and the British people, as they say, up with this. We will not put. I think if he carries on with this, and I think he knows it now, it could be his poll tax.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've said this before. It feels like that. Already there's huge amounts of opposition to this. As I said, I don't think this is British at all. But we've actually been here before with vaccine passports. Or do you remember the whole test and trace nonsense and the billions that were spent on that? So the machinery was put in place in some ways over COVID. And here we are now with something that wasn't in their manifesto. We don't know where this goes. The public don't actually want it. It won't solve the problems that they claim to fix. And actually, what they're often saying is that it's for your safety, it's for your security, it's for your convenience. These are the mantras of every authoritarian regime in history. Now, Tony Blair, whenever there's an issue like something like this, there's other ones going on at the moment with him, Tony Blair has been advocating for this for a very long time. It started off with ID cards, it's now morphed into this. His fingers are all over this. But what he doesn't understand, and what Keir Starmer is beginning to understand, is that British people just won't have it. And I would say to everyone, it will disappear if we keep saying, no, we're not going to do this, because if we do this, it completely changes the relationship between governments who are supposed to serve and this, which means that they are mandating, enforcing, making it compulsory, and potentially risking a mission creep into other solutions wrapped around the auspices of digital ID that they have no right to do. Because I think we also need to have a wider chat with this as a catalyst, actually, about what is the relationship between government and the people. My view, and many others, is that governments are there to serve. And we need less government to serve better. We do not need governments enforcing claptrap like digital ID, which the public don't want, and also it's unworkable in terms of the so-called solutions that they're trying to solve with digital ID. And I think, going back to the original point, Starm has realised already that the public are against us.
Because
and I
because,
suspect
James,
if we keep the pressure up, this will suddenly be kicked into the long grass.
It'll dissolve.